Yes. We are going to transition from looking at God's creation around us and seeing a great God to looking at creation around us and seeing a good God today and tomorrow. And here is something that was found on Monday during our nature walk. As we gathered there on the ramp up to the chuck wagon, I said, we're going to have a theme of looking for signs of insects feeding on leaves. And right there, this leaf was picked up, and it's something I never seen before, and I did figure out yesterday what it is. It is a regal rose gall wasp gall. So here's the story. Remember maybe yesterday in the buttercups there were these little gall wasps. So something like that came along and laid an egg or eggs on the wild rose leaves at the right time and at the right place. And that egg and the larvae chemically take control of the plant's genetic information and cause the plant to grow this structure, which is identifiable by AI of all things, as a regal rose gall. And inside there is a gall wasp larva, and it's living in this house. The plant grew for it, and the plant is feeding it. And I just thought you all that weren't along, you might enjoy seeing what's inside here, because God gave everything a story, and He's a good God. And He gave this little gall wasp a way to protect itself. And are there going to be galls on the tree of life? Because if there aren't, I'm going to miss them. But in a perfect world, in that new world, do things need to protect themselves? I don't know. But somehow, even if in the garden, if there were gall wasps and they weren't galling and you didn't have enemies, God still gave him this ability. And so I'm hoping to let you see a window into the gall and see how it even can protect itself inside the gall. So I'm going to give this a try. And live stuff like this can fail miserably, but we're going to give it a try. Okay, there it is. And there's the gall wasp larva. And so I'm going to see if I can upset it. It's like my grandson's on a hammock. I might have decapitated it, because all the other ones were violently jumping around in there like, hey, I'm a big scary maggot and you're going to be scared of me. Like, it's not vibrating. I might just chop its head right off. And so I just wanted you to see that and see that God is good in giving little tiny helpless things like that ways to protect themselves in a fallen and evil world. And I also have along here...
David, hold up a little bit. Did that plant actually make that, or did the wasp make that?
The wasp hijacked the DNA, God's instructions to the plant, and gave it other instructions. And so the plant grew it to protect it and feed it. And those are detachable galls, so they will fall off, and the wasp larva will pupate in the ground, and next summer, at the right time, in the right temperature, in the right place, they'll emerge and be galling other wild rose leaves. Yeah. What a good God, huh? Okay. You're probably wondering why we have a slug behind the pulpit to talk about a good God. This might work, it might not work. I'm gonna have to turn him the other way. And here we go. I'm pretending to be an ant. And I'm gonna take a bite out of this slug. And I'm just gonna bother him a little bit. And then I'm going to pretend that this is my jaws. Instant slug slime glue that's waterproof. So they figured out they can use slug slime glue to plug a hole in your heart. So if you get shot and you're close enough to slug slime glue, you're good. And the ants aren't.
Ants aren't what?
They're not good, because they're trying to get, this is a chemical defense. So the ant is biting on there, and if his jaws would shut or open or whatever, it's a deterrent for these poor, helpless, ugly slugs from being ant food. And I wasn't sure if it would work to do this because you don't have very many slugs around here, but fortunately yesterday you had the right idea to roll over the right log, and we found this guy, and all the logs I rolled over had ant nests under them. So I was like, yeah, it's going to work, because there can't be helpless, unprotected slugs around and all these ants. So that was the live demonstration there. Now I'll transition again to our PowerPoint and dive right in.
So hang on, were you actually being serious about plugging hearts?
Yes.
What about the gunshot?
What is
So
that?
medical fields are using slugs.
Well, I think they figured out how to synthesize a very similar kind of thing.
You know if it's ever being done?
Commercially,
On the battlefield.
I don't know that it's there yet. I think it's in the testing. I actually, look it up on maybe YouTube or somewhere.
I'm referring to real slug glue slime.
Not the real slug, but they actually took and made a hole in a pig's heart and squeezed it and then sealed it with that glue, and you can see it I saw the demonstration of it actually work. So if it's not, it's cutting edge if it isn't happening now. So maybe it's on the way. So you know the drill here. What is that? Anyone want to guess what that is, or maybe you know what it is?
The ocean.
Okay. Good guess. Pretty far from it. Wow, y'all had lots of ideas yesterday, but this is blowing your mind, I think.
Flower petal.
Okay, no? No?
Slug.
No? In a roundabout way. What? Yes. What we are looking at here is a cross-section of a lightning bug lantern. And I hope you all have lightning bugs around here or memories of it. And if you don't, you're going to go to Pennsylvania in June or July so you can experience the beautiful light show, because then you'll know that, yes, we have a good God. The lightning bugs that light show is a gift from God. And it's also a reminder that God is light. And he sent Jesus into the world to give us light. And we want to let our light shine before men, just like lightning bugs do. And I hope you all have memories of this. Do you all have memories of this? Oh, yes. Favorite memory, right? Has anyone here never caught a lightning bug? Never seen lightning bugs? Okay. Well, you'll have to come to Pennsylvania and see it sometime. I know you don't have as many around here, but we in Pennsylvania, we just enjoy the light show. I was out getting ready to take a picture of a comet when I took this picture, and was fascinated how the lightning bugs were flashing in the treetops just like the stars. And since I like to catch comets, I also like to catch lightning bugs. See, I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to catch that comet there. There, I did. I caught a comet and a lightning bug. Well, let's back up so you can see that. There we go. Here comes the comet. But yeah, lightning bugs are a gift of God, just like the stars. And I'm sure a lot of you have caught, a jar full of lightning bugs. Yes. Is that a good memory? You just love lightning bugs. So, years ago when our oldest grandson and I were out in the yard, he was looking at something, so I got down to see what it was, and it was a lightning bug crawling around in the yard. He said, "I like bugs." How many of you like bugs? Like 2, 3, 4 of you. See, I caught you. Everybody loves lightning bugs, but nobody likes bugs. So our church, Lockmead Mennonite Church, has a Christmas tree in the yard in July. You ever heard of Christmas in July? These are the Christmas light fireflies. There's all kinds of fireflies, in case you wondered. And they like to light up the tree, kind of in sync, and then other ones dance around it in a circle. This is Ken Gaiman's house, and our church is right over here. So I love to go over there and watch this and try to take pictures of it. Sorry about the grainy picture. That was with my old camera. But they are shining their lights before men, and we are to do that. And we do that to glorify God, so that our works glorify God, and we glorify our Father which is in heaven. And that's what the lightning bugs are doing. They wand their way into your hearts, even though you don't like bugs, because of their lights. That's what we want to do. And one evening, I was taking this picture to kind of show the variety of fireflies. There's all kinds of them. And later on, first in the evening, these here, whoops, I stuck this in here just to show you. They're communicating. I use the same picture to show the different kinds of communication. And we'll talk about the different kinds in a little bit, but first we want to look at how they make that light. That's bioluminescence. It's the same as like glowing mushrooms. And so I bought a seeded log so I could see foxfire. And it was to grow into a mushroom that glowed, but it never did. Here's zoomed in on it, and there is what was glowing, the fungal strands that are digesting this piece of birch. And here you can look at a close-up. It's just fine little fungal strands, and another shot so you can see what's actually glowing. This is what it was supposed to turn into, this Panella stypticus. But mine just looked like that. And then another fungus got it and ate it up. So it never turned into a mushroom, disappointingly. We have other kinds around here, like that kill the oak trees. And their fungal strands there kind of look like that black net. That'll make the oak glow the same way with That's the honey mushroom fungi that does that, fungus that does that. So this glow is ATP, remember that? You know, put together by these little electric motors, and luciferin and luciferase and an oxidizer. What is that called? A2? I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. This is what makes, I wish I paid attention to chemistry in school. Did I say that before? That's just fascinating how that makes light. But lightning bugs add something to making that bioluminescent light. They're communicating. It's a code. They're talking to each other. And there's different kinds of lightning bugs. So, early in the evening, okay. This is how they do it. The ones that flash early in the evening have a different code, and they gate it. It's gated oxygen, and so this is something recently figured out. So the oxygen makes its way in, and it's used up by ATP in the light generating site. And then when the light needs to be turned on, nitrous oxide shuts down the ATP, and that lets the oxygen in to start this light producing flash, this little, chemical reaction that produces the light. And it's even more complicated than that, and we'll get into that. Here's the different kinds that I was so eager to talk about that I was jumping ahead. Here, bleep, 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 bleep. These fly along, they make the 3 flashes. The one I had pictured, just a single lightning bug there with the light on, is these long, slow glow ones. They just kind of fly along, blink. And then there's the kind that flash in the trees. And early in the evening, there's the ones that make the J's, like they kind of blink and fly up, and then they'll fly along and blink again. And that's the ones those children were trying to catch that we were all wishing we could go and do right now. And here they are early in the evening doing that, but soon you would see a lot of others, like here's one going blink, blink as it flies along, or blink, 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 blink as it flies along. And then the Christmas tree ones, let me back up. Here's the Christmas light, firefly with a string of lights all around the tree and the beginning of the dance, and one of the J ones as it came past. And here we go. Here's the Christmas tree and the firefly dance. And they come in all styles and sizes. Here's 2 that are at our church and at our house. These are the slow glow ones. These are carnivorous. They're really good at lying. A good God that makes fireflies that lie, I don't know how this works, but it is a fallen world. But they can fake any firefly blink code. And so you're flying along and you see this blink in there and you're like, so how are you? And you're food. Oh boy. You gotta watch that code there, right? So yeah, all sizes and kinds. Here's a collection, a small collection I made of fireflies and fake fireflies. You're welcome to look at this maybe after the group photo. Here's the slow glow ones in our fence row. Generally, the females are sitting in the bushes, and you can see I was standing there taking a picture, a long exposure, right? So I'm kind of not so steady, but it just turns on and gets brighter and brighter for, a little bit. And the males are flying around, maybe, or maybe it's a female, faking. It's like pretty dangerous game out there for fireflies. Here's that, one of those sitting there, and, they can just flash their light on, and it's amazing to think how they do this. They cause that chemical reaction, and they gate the oxygen, and that's what controls the length of the flash, the brightness of the flash, etc.
Hold up a little bit, once. I got a lot of questions.
Sure.
If you peel off the light when it's still alive, it stays lit for a long time.
Right.
Does that mean I shut off the oxygen to the light?
You would have allowed oxygen in there somehow. Somehow it would, shut off that gating system. Open up the gating system, allowing oxygen to get in there. And probably even since you know how it works if you smear it around, so the oxygen in the air is causing that too. Because the ATP isn't in the gate. It's not the gatekeeper anymore because the oxygen can get to the other chemical stuff to cause that reaction.
So if I somehow found one in the daylight, it would do the same thing?
If you
I've
can
never
see
seen one in daylight.
it probably would. It's just be hard to see. Like this photo here is taken for 3 minutes at 30,000 ISO. Like 30,000 ISO with my camera to get that bright, and I'm sure I brightened it up in Photoshop yet. It's very faint. And the firefly light has a lot of other things going on so that you can see that light. So when you smear it like this, it's not as bright as the flash. Yeah,
I'm also curious, why did God give them lights?
exactly. Maybe to remind us that he's good, because we all love them. That's what I'm saying.
So it's not really
And there's,
trying to attract something or scare something.
yeah, well, the glowworms, their larvae glow too, so maybe it helps scare things away when they're larvae.
So it is communication too?
Yes, because it is like that flat. So I actually have a slide. I came out one evening to the riverbank and I saw a lightning bug in the grass, and I figured it was a female. And so I set up my camera and waited, and sure enough, in the evening, blink, here comes the male, blink. He was one of the J ones. So he'd, make the J, and she'd blink back, and he'd make the J, and she'd blink back, and then I have to separate them, because when I take pictures, I gotta take a whole bunch, because some of them might not work out. So I had to do this many times, but I did get, the series of flashes as he came and as she returned so they're talking to each other. It's communication. It has to be the right length of flash or they won't respond. The different species, like that.
Like a work page.
Yes. And I just put this in here to kind of compare, this is bioluminescence, this is bioluminescence with this added to it. It's like up in the game here, and got up the game even more by doing this. So here is a cross-section. Of course we got a cross-section of firefly lantern to see what it looks like inside. And part of what makes the light so bright is you'll see it's wavy. This is like ocean waves here on microscopic scale. And all these little vertical lines are hairs, which have a little bit to do with transmitting the light, coupling the light out of this light producing area into the air. But most of it happens to be this layer here, the cuticle or the probably chitin, and these little edges, all these little bright edges are the edges of like scale shape, like this. Here's a diagram of firefly lantern, and of course scientists have learned that if you copy things in nature, you can make very useful things for humans. And so this is called biomimicry here. They found that they can use the same shape and principle to make bio-inspired LED lights, organic LED lights. And here's biologically inspired organic light emitting diodes, which enhanced the brightness by 61% just by doing that. So maybe your flashlights are God-inspired. He's a good God. He gave us good gifts, and if we learn to find them and use them, it benefits our lives. And here's kind of how the principle of that outcoupling and how it works, how it helps the light. Instead of bouncing around inside, it actually helps it escape and transmit into the air. Here's another part of what makes a firefly lantern work so good. Here, let me back up. Here again, some of these lines are the hairs, and the bright edges of the scales are bright because they're transmitting the light out into the air. And here's the edge, and then this is the photogenic layer. This is where the light is being made, right here. And then this is a granule layer, like little tiny microstructures that reflect all kinds of light. Remember this? It's not a conserved thing from evolution. It's something God designed to reflect light. And so the light is generated here and is bouncing around in all these little uric acid granules, and it is working just like a laser. See, when I was a young guy, lasers were like new, and I would dream of turning the school light into a laser. Like, Joyce, you're probably glad I didn't do that, but, or, cutting the whole forest down with a laser, just cool stuff like that, right? So this is really fascinating to me, but a lightning bug lantern works works like a laser. So you have this light generating area, which you have in a laser, and you have a reflective layer, which you have in a laser, and you have to have the the lens and the place for it to get out into the air. And here is where that oxygen here's where the pathways are for the oxygen to get in, and where the chemical reaction takes place to make the light. And here, where it's all bright, is because that's where all those granules are that are reflecting and bouncing and scattering that light around. And they bounce around. It's so reflective, and they're bouncing around in there so much that it gives them time to bump into more photon producing. It produces more photons, just like a laser. And then when they are out coupled, they are coherent, like amplified, and they're also coherent temporally, just like a laser. So if you're into lasers, you know that coherent temporal and spatial coherence is happening right here. And there it is. Research, firefly lights are excellent temporal and good spatial coherence. That's what laser is. And they also say in a different one, here's a SEM of those uric acid granules that are doing all the reflecting, and an efficient laser system could be constructed in the model of a firefly light emitting system. That just makes my day, my year. So it's a multi-mode laser, or a random laser, which doesn't use a mirror but uses, light scattering. And, that was another interesting thing. The flash actually consists of microsecond pulses, about 30,000 pulses during a 100 millisecond flash. Wow. Anyway. And here's the key. Those granules in the reflector region act as a diffusive material, keeping the light inside the system long enough for the amplification to become effective. Laser, light amplification of stimulated emission. See, there it is. And there's another cross section, and now this is in the light microscope looking up through it. The other one was in this microscope looking down on it. So the reflective layer is all black because the light is not being transmitted through it. And here's the photogenic layer, or where the light is produced, and here are those scales, like step down, and another one step down. And the hairs may do some in help getting that light out, so that we can enjoy those beautiful light shows. So here's one of these lightning bugs. These are the carnivorous ones. And there's more to the story, like how they live and how they can fly, how they lift their wing covers up, and if you look for lightning bug photos, you'll see a lot of them like this. They actually fly like that. It's pretty amazing, like vertically as they have amazing compound eyes and antennae, and the strangest looking, well, that's what bug feet look like, but anyway, you just gotta look at those in the microscope to appreciate, like, what is that? Is that a whole bunch of little, I don't know, I want to know what that is, don't you? Little oil droplets, I don't know. Anyway, they're chemically protected. You caught lightning bugs and you smell that lightning bug smell. Of course they are. God is good. He gave them a way to protect themselves. They reflexively bleed, so there's some of their blood with the toxins in it. Here we go again, here and here, and one evening, we went to small group, and I was there early, and a lightning bug flew around, and I caught it, and I'm a hopeless hunter, so I saw another one, so I was up and I was chasing fireflies, and then I saw there was a different kind. That's where I caught that little tiny one, little clear, little white one. And in the process of chasing lightning bugs, I was explaining to Ken Gaiman, our bishop, how there's different kinds of them. He's like, I didn't know that. I just thought a lightning bug was a lightning bug. Anyway, a little later on that evening, the light show really began. And so all us men were standing there in a line, looking out across the field, enjoying all those lightning bugs. And Ken was telling the others, there's different kind of lightning bugs in there. See the J right there, and see these flashes, and see, and I didn't know that, And then he asked this really good question. It's a profound question. It's the question you asked too, in a way. It's like, why did God make lightning bugs? Like, what's the purpose? Because he could? And I piped up right away because I had just been geeking out on lightning bugs. And I'm like, yeah, that. But I said, think about it. Every one of those lightning bugs was once a larva in the ground, a glowworm, and they eat slugs. And there was a reverent murmur, not because of what I said, but because we have a good God. Amen. If you have, ladies, if you have like hostas of strawberries, and the farmers, like, every one of those was a slug-eating larva, a glowworm. And here is a glowworm. I just went out in the fence row and dug up a little dirt, put it in a, aquarium. Sure enough, there was like 4 or 5 of them in there. So I got to observe them and take pictures of them, and they glow. Like, that was a very long exposure. They glow even when they don't have their light on. And you give them long enough time, so it's not very sharp, but they just leak light out very faintly. And they're just strange looking creatures, but there he is eating a slug. And do you remember how slugs have that slug slime glue? Check it out, like, it isn't working there. There's a picture of it. Here's a video of it that you've seen how it works before, so we can just skip through this. But oh well, in case you couldn't see it, I'll just let this. There comes the instant slug slime glue. And why did God do that? Well, maybe to benefit mankind, so someday we can seal bleeding hearts. If nothing else, he did it because of that. Right there, look at that. That is cool. You just see it, right? That is just cool. Maybe that's why God did it. But he is a good God. And the slug slime glue isn't working here. And the larvae, just really glow. And I wanted to see that, but I didn't see my larvae for a while, and I was showing the grandkids these. I was going to try to show them these glowing larvae when they came to visit. I noticed this, and I'm like, little mud balls, I've got an idea. So I got a wire and I stuck it down in there and knocked the side off of that, and yep, there's the pupa turning into a firefly. And so I had another idea, and look at that. So you're carnivorous creature tunneling through the ground, and you bust into this nice whole cave, and there's this glowing thing in front of you. You're like, I'm out of here. See, so it may be chemical, it might be a way of protecting, the underground helpless, creatures from things that like darkness and suddenly burst into the light. There it is. I pulled the little nest out, and the sun was coming up, and so I'm amazed at how they can make this, little pupal chamber down in the ground and emerge as a lightning bug and make their slug slime powered laser-like high-tech communication light so that we can praise our good God for giving us that gift of a beautiful and amazing light show. And let's remember that those are bright ideas that the Creator gave, so we can glorify Him because of that. And also let's remember to let our light shine before men so we can glorify Him with our works, and we can tell others about our Father which is in heaven that gave us good things. He's good. Amen. Yes, a reverent mama.
That's amazing.